Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the Beaufort County Transportation Committee meeting for September 15th, 2021. We'll start off with our call to order and roll call.
Mr. Becker?
Here. I have to leave at 4:20 today, so since some of the topics may come up later after I leave, I'd like to make a comment for the record that I'm in agreement with the approach suggested by Chairman Gordon on secondary road spending that he outlined in an email to the committee on August 19th. In summary, that outlined a group A and B roads, with each receiving approximately 50% of the spending target for 21 and 22 fiscal year.
Thank you.
Ms. Souza? Mr. Forrest?
He's excused.
Mr. Glover?
He's excused.
Mr. Gordon?
Here.
Mr. McCain?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Sellers?
She's excused. She has COVID. After the shot, no less. After her shots.
Mr. Winslow?
Present.
Mr. Sherman?
Here.
We have a quorum. We also, it's a custom to go through the guests that are here. We'll start over here.
Brady Fields, Beaufort County's Capital Project Coordinator.
Andrea, Atherton, Beaufort County Transportation Engineer.
Sean Epps, F&ME Consultants.
Bryan, Bauer, F&ME Consultants.
Rob McPhee, Seppi Engineering. Jerry.
Go ahead, Jerry.
That's Beaufort County Assistant County Administrator. Engineer.
Kraig from the City of Beaufort. I'm their Engineering Program Support Coordinator.
Kraig Moore, Resident Construction Engineer, South Carolina DOT.
Suzanne Larson, Low Country Inside Track.
Thank you. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have anybody present in the audience who would like to make public comment on today's agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of minutes from our July 21st, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion for approval?
Sir, just one comment. Reviewing it, it looked like from the minutes, from the action from the last meeting, it had called me out for speaking, but then it had a different name saying that someone else was supplying these slides.
I totally understand everything you said there. Thank you.
Look at the minutes, it looked like there was a different name in the section where I spoke.
Okay.
And then I was going to provide slides, but it looked like it had someone else's name there behind the slides.
We'll adjust that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other corrections? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Abstain.
Old business. Greg, you're going to be up first anyways. Come on up to the podium if you would, please.
All right, this slide is just simply an overview of the different current projects under construction or in closeout. You can go to the next slide. So this project is the intersection improvement at Paris Island Gateway and 170 by the Walmart and TJ Maxx. This project is currently in closeout and punch list. We have added some additional scope to this project, specifically delineators in the left turn lane that is for the future development that is being advertised. And then also, which is what the first picture is up there, the second picture is where concrete, I'll say median for those two turn lanes, being a right in, right out, there is going to be a sidewalk or a crosswalk cut into that concrete. And so the proper signage striping adjustments will be made for that. We are still working on the change orders for the contractor to come back and do that work.
That's a very good project. That area certainly needed it.
Yes, sir. Any questions on that project? Next slide. This project crosses between Beaufort County and Jasper County. The roads in question here, the 38595, that one includes Pigeon Point Road, Pinckney Boulevard, Neal Road, Stewarttown Road, Pinckney Colony Road, and Depot Road. All the work there is complete. The ID number for SC46, that work is only pending thermo and seeding. And the last one, West Street, is complete. Clarendon Road is pending thermo. That work will be, for the Beaufort County portion of that, that'll be complete next month, so.
Okay.
Next slide. 6260 for S406 East Road Rehab out on Hunting Island. That work is getting ready to start probably in the next month out on Hunting Island for Sea Island Parkway. It has been delayed somewhat due to getting some additional funding from the state parks to go inside their facility and repave roads that are in bad need of it. We were trying to hold off and do that work after we did the interior park work. Due to the commission timing, I believe we are about to actually start that work. So we will start seeing that get milled up and re-leveled, so.
Good.
And then after we get the funding from the commission up in Columbia, we'll go back inside the park and do that work. Next one. These are the last two active projects. The road rehab, this one's slated for completion June of 22. The roads that are within Beaufort County, Laurel Bay Road is complete. Castle Hall, Frampton, and Boundary are still pending, yet to be scheduled. The last one, paving complete for those multiple roads, with the exception of Drayton Drive over in Port Royal. That is going to be CMRB work. That is currently, that pavement design is currently being designed and reviewed by the DOT, and that's not scheduled until 2022. You will see, if you go out on that section of road, that there have been asphalt cuts there, doing geotechnical studies by Insight Group. But again, that won't be until 2022 spring, so. And then 8090, that completes next month. The only work again there left is the thermo. So we've already done the paving work, we've already done the milled and rumble strips, and that's just left. Any questions on active projects before I go to upcoming?
Yes, sir. Greg, looking at 6260,
Yes, sir.
is that going to start at the end of the bridge project paving and run to the bridge on Fripp?
No, sir. There is a gap in between the two bridges. We did add some additional road section on the Fripp Island end. I know Fripp Island did come to us about some work on their bridge. We are going to fit, there's a lip or a dip, whatever you want to call it, going onto the Fripp Island Bridge. The contractor is going to put a wedge there to ease that transition. And then Fripp Island is actually contracting them to do some additional work on their bridge.
So as you come back towards town from the bridge,
Yes, sir.
you're stopping before
For the new bridge.
the new bridge approach,
Yes, sir.
somewhere along Harbor Island entrance or further away from?
No, all of this work is actually over on Hunting Island. I can send the chairman a map of that work.
It matches the work that was previously done in like 2018. There's only one point of discontinuity between where we're ending this year.
Okay.
Half a mile piece that'll be left to do for the next fiscal year.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Greg.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, the immediate upcoming project is the US 278 safety improvements. That is going through 6 different intersections down in Hilton Head and Bluffton. that is getting anywhere from restriping and medians to new traffic controls, just a number of things there. That's in the immediate future. Other stuff coming that is on the books includes the corridor improvements for 278. That is not projected until year 2024. There's a good bit of work going on at 278. You've got 278 Jenkins Island improvements from Wilton J. Graves, the beginning of Causeway on the Hilton Head. That timeline is unknown. It's identified as unknown. There's sidewalk improvements in Port Royal. There's more pavement improvements for 2022. And then Meadowbrook Drive extension, and that's updated as of today, so.
Okay. Elizabeth, did you ever get the Buck Island corings?
It hasn't been taken yet, no, sir.
Okay. Just curious about the results.
We did get a lot of cores done on 278 business, I know everyone will be happy about, but we have not gotten both out yet.
Okay. Any questions of more of Greg? Thanks much. Appreciate your work. Next item up is year 4 resurfacing update. You can take your mask off to speak.
That's all right.
Whatever you like.
If you can hear me. Anyways, thank you, Chairman Gordon. So year 4 is coming to a close. We, as of right now, we only have 2 projects left, which will be completed next week, which is Sawmill Forest Drive, that's in Bluffton, and then Plantation Park entrances. That's right off of 278. It'll just be the inbound and the outbound and a little T section of actually Plantation Park, which is in pretty bad shape. So we should be done with the most of the work by the end of next week. We, in the end, finished almost 13 miles of resurfacing. What is left is just thermo and some shoulder fill, and then that'll close out year 4. Year 5, invitation for bids, as we reported last meeting, we will. Our goal is to get it out the 4th quarter of this year. We'll be bidding about 7.5 miles of various types of treatment types, called resurfacing. Our estimate right now is almost 2.4 million, and then they're scheduled for approximately 3 miles of reclamite for $70,000. So that's year 4 and year 5. Later on in the meeting, I have a little presentation on some additional work we'd like to do on year 5.
We have touched by the end of year 4. This committee has resurfaced and touched something to the tune of like 55 miles of county roads. And we only own 217. That's pretty good swing.
Okay, Elizabeth, next slide. So just thought we'd throw in here a quick update on dirt road paving. Dirt Road 51 is complete as far as the paving. Just have some punch list items. We did 1.6 miles in this contract for $2.244 million. About $1,400,000 per mile is what it cost us. Now that was design and build, so that's a combo there. Dirt Road number 52, which is under contract with Hires Andrews, is Harrison Island, Right Place, Wycliffe, and David Green. It's about 1.43 miles. The contract amount currently is just over $2 million. That came in at about $1,450,000, and again, that's design, permitting, and construction. We're in for permits on 52. We should be starting construction the beginning of first quarter of next year, and the whole contract for 52 should be complete by the end of August of next year. Number 53, which we will, our goal is to bid out either December or January of next year, will include Twickenham, Northview. Rainbow is a question right now for several reasons. The original budget was 2.34 million. As you know, with the change in tag funds, our funding is going to be reduced by about 40%. So we're going to have to make some decisions about, possibly bid these roads out separately, get some alternates, figure out what we have as far as a budget, and then award based on that.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. My other slide is at the end, isn't it, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is our update on our paving condition survey. How are you this afternoon, Bryan?
Good, thank you. For allowing us to give you an update. Since our last update, we have received the data that was collected by the SCDOT for the pavement distresses. So we have gone through and performed our desktop QC of that data and begin to troubleshoot any issues that we saw. And we've gone through the first iteration of the PQI calculation and started to compare that to what was collected last year. So we've started the process and began our manual QC, where we're going to actually go out and look at a certain percentage of roads, walk them, and make sure that everything we see matches what is in the DOT data. And so, as I said, we started comparing to what was collected in 2017. The next steps will be to finish the manual QC of the data, and then we will go through and complete the summary of findings, comparing what was collected last time and how the system has changed or improved. And then after that, we will meet with town staff and CTC to determine, the variables we are going to use to come up with our priority rating and what treatment methods we may be interested in using for the next 5-year plan.
What kind of is your projected schedule? When do you think you're going to have, I know you're late in getting the stuff from DOT, but how's that going to affect getting the work accomplished?
I'll go back and look at our schedule. I think, as of now, as far as the length that we gave is tracking pretty on course, but I'll have to go back and look and see.
I thought you were going to be done somewhere around the 1st of November.
That was assuming we got the data, I think, in June or May or something like that. So I have to go back and look and adjust it for when we see the data. So
If you would send that to me, I'd appreciate that, so I could give it to the rest of the committee. How about the municipalities? The 4 municipalities we paid for. Has that data been?
that data has been collected also. We have that. So we have gone through and done, again, the same calculation for PQI, and those will be included in the manual QC that we do to look at that.
Since they've never been done, that's going to make it be a bit of a
Nothing
challenge.
to compare that to, so it'll just be what it is. So.
Right. Any other questions? Bryan? Thank you much. Jared, you're up next to talk about OBIT 170.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. So SC 170, this is the section again from 278 to 462. We have initiated a contract on the near-term projects. So there are 6 projects, various areas of improvement that create that near term that has a total construction value of approximately $3 million. So we're under contract with AECom to move forward on that work and start the design. Our goal is that we'd have that work designed and permitted over the next 5 to 6 months. So the first of the year, we'd be at a point where we could put that design out on the streets to get bids, and a few months for bid and award, and then hopefully by spring, late spring, be able to start construction on those improvements. Since our last meeting, we've coordinated with Jasper Council. They had a workshop meeting and invited us to attend. We attended that, and they asked for a proposal to help provide them a draft fee proposal on how do we split that $3 million construction value. The county has already taken on, obviously, the engineering value, and we're paying for that outright, but are looking to share the cost on the $3 million. So we have since provided a proposal back such that the proposal right now, excuse me, shows us as $1.5 million and then The county, Jasper County has 1 million and the town of Hardyville has 500,000. So we provided that as well to the town of Hardyville. And both have been received and favorably and waiting their response for any responses to what we submitted, so.
That's good to hear.
Yep, again, sent it over there, they welcomed it and appreciate the effort as putting the first draft together. Excuse me. And we'll anxiously wait to hear what they have to say about that first draft, so.
As you and I have communicated, I spoke to Michael Black at District 6, and I've also provided this outline to District 6, and have asked again about them providing dollars for funding to do the resurfacing at 278 and 170. And they are going to include it, and it will be up to the commission to approve whether the project is funded or not. But Michael seemed very positive about it.
Great. And just moving forward, the county is trying to look at how we approach the remainder of the project. So this is the near term, but we had the midterm and long-term improvements as well for a total cost of $80 million. So we're looking at ways to do that. Hopefully that we can move straight into the next project if we can come up with the equation on how to solve that riddle. But we are looking into it, and our goal is to keep the momentum that we gained with the short-term projects and roll that into a long-term project. Also, while I'm up here, same road, different section, just for your edification and the committee, is SC 170. We're actually working with the city of Beaufort right now on a section north of the Broad from Paris Island Gateway to Castle Rock. There's an existing access management study for that section, but it's pretty dated. So we are working with them to update that study, and we hope to have that in the coming months. So hopefully we have that prepared and have a master plan such that as development occurs in that area and the improvements that were done recently by DOT, we can make sure we have a solid flow of traffic and it doesn't get overly congested by not having a good plan in place. So we're taking a look at that right now, and again, coordinating with the city of Beaufort on that, and hope to have that prepared in the next coming months.
Great. Any questions, further questions?
I just wanted to add, when we did the plan, what was it, about 2 years ago, the reason we're concerned about getting a plan rather than just doing improvements helter-skelter is that oftentimes with that length of road with that many problems, if you don't do things in order, you actually will create more problems. And then people say, well, why'd we spend this money? And so it was, planned in the way to make it work.
Well, and I just deeply appreciate all that forethought that was put into it. It's actually been good from our perspective. It's given us an orderly fashion to work through the project and also take that first bit. And hopefully, once we get the ball rolling on the first one, that'll give us the momentum to keep. So we're going to steal that method and probably use it on future studies, whether we do them or LATS do them. I think that was a worthwhile approach, so appreciate that foresight.
Yeah, because I think, doing corridor studies really works. It was actually your Colin Kenton's idea was to, rather than just taking and doing some improvements, a light here, a turning lane there, let's look at it as a system.
Yep,
and it really
absolutely.
it actually saves money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Jim, before you leave, I appreciate you being here and appreciate your comments earlier. And with that, could I ask you to make the motion to improve the state secondary program as you outlined earlier?
Yeah, okay. Motion would be to approve the approach suggested by Chairman Gordon on August 19th for funding of the approach for funding secondary roads into groups A and B with differing average daily traffic counts.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, we want to talk a little bit about what we're into. It's The dollar amount is actually, we went back and Brittanee did a restudy for us, and it's something to the tune of 1.1 million that we'll have to spend. So we'll be spending more money than the 450,000. And I'm going to tie in this conversation with the item G, appointment of low ADT engineer. While we were, during the time between our two meetings, we went out and requested a proposal from F&ME to look at the state secondaries with less than a ADT of 500. And two surprises came out of that study. First of all, we have more than 190 miles of road of state secondaries that have an ADT of less than 500. And I think our total mileage is what, 375? Is that correct, Elizabeth, of state secondaries?
Secondaries, yes.
I recall that number. So more than half of our state secondaries has an ADT of less than 500 a day. So obviously we got a proposal back, and the proposal dollar amount wasn't excessive. It was more than what we could do with a change order. It was almost $90,000. So what I will ask for is that we perform, as Mark suggested, have a request for proposals go out this fall, requesting consulting firms, engineering firms to provide study on ADT roads using our dirt road criteria, and come up with rankings for dirt roads with, or state secondaries with an ADT of less than 500. So we would need to do that with a motion and put it out, have it engineered, have it studied, and that way we have a program started for us on how we will do and how we will be spending the dollars. That's item number one. Item number two would be that because this is going to take probably into the end of this fiscal year, next end of June the next year, to get the study completed, the proposal would be that we take this year and we would spend 1.1 million on state secondaries with a higher than 500 ADT. And then next year, we would spend the 1.1 million on the state secondaries with an ADT of less than 500. And then go back to the program that we just approved 3 years out. Does that make sense to everybody? Bryan?
Sure.
This year we'd do 1.1 million for state secondaries on the streets that you all have turned in, because we won't have our studies completed till before our fiscal year ends. The following year we do less than 500 ADT, and then it would go back on an annual basis of half goes towards above and the other half goes to the 500 below. I don't see head shaking or disagreeing. Where are we? If not, I'd like to have a motion for that.
I make a motion to accept your policy on using the 500 over and 500 less, split the cost.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Would you also add in there that we will go out for a request for proposals?
Motion also includes a request for proposals for design into the less than 500 ATT.
Thank you. Jenny, will you second that?
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That kind of takes care of F, G, and review of state secretaries, H. Brittanee, are you going to visit us on the funding review where we're at?
That's correct. Can you pull up the documents, Elizabeth? So everybody in your packet, while she's pulling that up, there's a letter from SCDOT. So annually, we have two types of reviews and/or audits, whatever you prefer to call them. The first one is going to be a review of the documentation that we keep for all of our project tracking. We had a visit from Ivana Gerhardt with the C-Fund program, and we have successfully passed our review with no deficiencies. Inside the packet is also that compliance review form that is required. What they do is they come down and they go through the project files to ensure that we've got all the adequate procurement documents, invoicing, and anything else associated with the project. And then for the second review and audit is of the financials of our annual basis. And both of these track after the fiscal cycle ends annually. So due by the end of September is going to be our full fiscal year 21 financial report that is due. And at that time, we will bring that forward to committee for you guys to have as the information.
Any questions of Brittanee? Thank you. I misstated on item H, and I want to go back and reconsider that. Item H, the idea was that you all are out in your districts and made reviews of the roads. And you were provided with the state secondaries. And if I would offer this as a suggestion, we'll start around the table, but my thought would be that we have 1, 2, 4, 3 isn't here. But what we would do is we're going to select routes that we would want to have reviewed and priced. And so out of your district, what would be the road that you would think of the two, Stanley Farm or Moratz Road, which would you rather see got added to the review list and for possible paving this coming year, resurfacing?
Can we put Twickenham Road in there someplace? That's 22, I believe.
Yeah, that's dirt road.
That's dirt road.
That's dirt
Yeah, we got
road. These are resurfacing.
Resurfacing, he said resurfacing. Okay.
Stanley Farm has the greatest ADT.
He does, okay. Stanley Farm would be fine.
Stanley Farm would be one.
Right.
Council District 3, Mark? What street would you recommend?
Whichever streets meet the suggested guidelines of 2,000 ADT with a PQI greater than 2.
I'm going to defer that to you. It's your district, you know the roads, I don't.
Elizabeth, what was the one street that you and I spoke about yesterday?
I don't remember the street.
No, sir, you don't. I was speaking with Elizabeth. Did you call me yesterday morning?
Pleasant Point?
Drive.
Pleasant Point is from District 2.
Now, that does not reflect the information that is in the handout that we're reviewing. It says Aversart Road and Dunn's Gaines Alley, which I don't know where they are.
That's District 11.
That's mine.
It says District 2 here, the screen says District 2, and you said District 3. So,
District 3. We're supposed to pick up Pleasant Point Drive out of District 2. Is it, and I didn't bring my book with me, but Pleasant Point, District 2. What out of your district, Mark?
sir?
What out of your district? Is Pleasant Point also in your district?
Yes, sir.
So how long is Pleasant Point all told?
0.85 miles with an ADT of 2,000, which meets the requirement, with a PQI of 0.22.
Good.
That is the only road that meets the requirements that you established in the minutes of last month's meeting.
Correct. District 4.
Okay, as long as we're going under 1,000, I have two that are not, well, the pavement quality is quite low, of 0.2 or 0.21, and one is Azalea Drive, and together there's 0.82 miles, and the total AEDT is 900, so it's, getting up there. And the other one is Center Drive East, which again is 0.21 and has an AEDT of 600. And my other comment is the same as I made at the last meeting, is because of the incredible increase in traffic on these small residential streets because of Google Maps. I just want to make sure that we come back and look at some of the other streets that I also know from observing them in person are going to be having problems, even if they don't now and the traffic is picking up. So on District 4, it's the two roads, two streets that have the green. So that's the easiest way to get there.
Which do you want out of your district? District 11.
Archer Road. Doesn't show up here, but that's the original one I submitted.
How long is that?
721 feet.
700 feet?
12,900 ADT.
Wow.
I think everybody uses it.
Since I didn't get, Elizabeth, I didn't get from you a listing of any of your wish list projects. Any of these fall into wish list projects? Come on up to the podium and talk to us.
Yeah, typically evaluate our system more towards in October. So the ones that I have on our list left over from the previous year for non-federal aid routes would be ones like Allen's Causeway, Stanley Farm was one I heard from a district. Rosita, Barnwell, Poppy Hill are just a few that rank pretty high, and we will be looking closer at in the next year. And as far as federal aid routes, Castle Hall, Ballpark, Volley, Road, Detour, Marshall, and Lafayette are a few that we would suggest looking at as well.
Are they going to be on your paving program?
It's to be determined. We haven't completed or started that process for the next fiscal year, but they have a good chance of being on there.
What I might suggest is, first of all, get the list to us, whether they're followed or not. What we're going to do is We've had a motion, second and approved, to have a study done, and we'll have F&ME do the study on the streets we just described, and for them to come up with a paving method, as well as with a dollar amount to see if we're spending up close to our estimate. We're at our 1.1 million. And what could happen is we could maybe, if we don't get up to our 1.1 million, we could come back and pull off one or two streets from yours.
Great, okay, great. The ADT, I didn't mention, the Islands Causeway is a 3,200.
We gave you money for Islands Causeway. We gave you $270,000.
Right, it's a 3-mile long roadway.
Okay.
And Stanley Farm is a 1,600 traffic count on that one, and
Stanley Farm?
yes, on a portion of it. Again, the data is broken down by segments, so.
Elizabeth, isn't Island Causeway in the federal?
It's showing up listing as non-federal aid.
Now non-federal, used to be federal, right?
Well, it's showing non-federal aid, so.
Today.
They're gonna confirm on that, but it's in our non-federal aid programming.
Weren't we told at one time that was a federal aid project road?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember that.
I do.
I think it was questioned on why it was, but because of the volume, but it doesn't connect.
I do not believe county CTC should be expending money on federal aid projects.
Well, and it's listed as non-federal aid, so it's more of a localized, part of a localized system.
We've spent them, we've transferred the money already.
I'm just stating an opinion.
Okay.
But Stanley Farm is non-federal aid, so is Resida. There's some other roads that are high on the ranking list that, as far as, the pavement goes, with being closer to a road that we're looking to resurface this year is on Hermitage. So roads like Barnwell, John Mark Verdier, Elliott, those streets.
Again, if you would send those to us, I'd like to get them incorporated into the minutes. I have it now that we have Stanley Farm, 0.62 miles out of District 1. Out of District 2 and 3, we have Pleasant Point. District 4, we have Azalea and Center Drive East. In District 11, we have Archer Road.
That road is in District 2, not District 2 and 3.
Just District 2?
Mm-hmm.
You have another one for 3?
Why should I have 3? John's not here.
Please make up. Yep,
I
that's
think his
John's.
was Fripp Point, is that correct?
This was what?
Fripp Point. I think Botley would be another good candidate.
Let's add Strip Point for John. Okay.
Got a slide for, there you go.
Thank you very much. Fripp Point.
Now, I'm concerned about these ADTs being reported because that's not direction we received. If we're going to drop down to ADTs of 750, 500, and so on, the list is not reflective of what the guidance was given to us to do.
You're correct. The difference was, at that point in time, we were looking at only spending $500,000.
But that didn't change the rules.
It didn't change the rules, but that's the data that you work from, and we're sitting here discussing it, anything above 500 at this point in time.
I can give you more roads then if you're going to go above 500.
Sure. What else do you want to add?
I'm not going to add them today.
Well, we haven't.
You want me to make a decision right here on roads that are a good bit difference between 2,000 and 500 ADTs, and when you got approximately 94 roads in District 2 that are under a certain PQI. I just think this is improper.
Your comments are noted. Thank you. Okay, we'll move it along. We'll move to new business. I put in your packet a document that I don't know if you've all seen before. And that document looks like this. That document is a summary, and I provide it to you as a means of saying, you know, when we sit and do our, when Brittanee does our annual report for this fiscal year, that document gets included in with the other 46 counties of the state. It gets provided to the state legislature, the General Assembly, as to how the money's been spent. And I'm not going to suggest how our delegation looks at it, but they get our county, Beaufort County's report, along with the other 46 counties in the state. And I thought that it would be beneficial for you all to see that. Next item is interstate funding discussion. And I just opened or brought the subject up more for everybody's information and discussion. I have had conversations with Joe Sturm, the CTC program manager, concerning where we're headed for funding. The Highway Trust Fund is in serious problems funding. And I'm not making my comment as a political statement in any way, shape, or form, but with the Biden administration pushing for battery-operated cars and trucks and so on, that is going to have a significant impact not only on federal highway funds, but it's going to have an impact on our funds, because our funds come from gasoline sales tax. And it's going to have a serious impact unless the legislature, and my understanding is from talking to Joe, that has been a topic at the legislature, whether they haven't been moving on it. So that's just, again, part of the format of providing you information of what things that we need to be looking at. I'm going to ask Andrea to come up and talk about item D under new business funding for F&ME. Because I want to reverse B and C that were supposed to have been reversed.
That's fine. So, as I said, we're getting ready to put out an invitation for bid for year 5 resurfacing. So the survey, pavement condition survey, was done in 2017. So it's, 4 years old. In addition to that, we're getting into year 5 where we're getting the roads that are rather short, in poor condition. We're having to do some extreme pavement preservation. As an example, in year 4, we've done almost 13 miles for almost 2.2 million. And here in year 5, we only have 8 miles. And we have a budget of 2.4 million. So you can see that, we're getting into the really expensive treatment types, and it's 4 years old. So Kraig and I talked, and we thought that it would be good to have F&ME review year 5 again, go out and look at the roads, take some cores, analyze what the most cost-effective preservation treatment type is, and help us be real efficient in spending the money for year 5, because it is so expensive. So what we're doing here is we're asking for the funding for the $12,000 to come from C funds. So right now we're temporarily, we would charge it to tag funds, but if we could get C funds to pay for it, then we feel that that's where it belongs.
It is for our contract, and so it should come from C funds. Anybody have questions? Do I have a motion? Jen?
We're approving the recommendation, right? Okay, I move that we approve the recommendation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
you'll understand why I flipped these. I feel very strongly that I've tried to do everything throughout the period of time to keep everybody, the committee involved in making every decision, but there are times such as this that we agreed to take the funds from tag funds because this discussion started about 6 weeks ago. And instead of, at that point in time, it should have been something, because of the small dollar amount, that I would hope could be approved. And I thought about it a little bit, and I thought, I don't want the authorities solely myself, but I would think that if you took the chairman, the vice chairman, and the treasurer, and if you took a dollar amount of, say, $25,000 or less, and let the chairman and all three to have that conversation rather than trying to call everybody and get everybody's vote, it just becomes a cumbersome type of deal, rather than if it happens right after a meeting, it's 2 months before we act on it. And we're not getting stuff done in a timely fashion if we do that. I saw your head nod, Jenny, does that make sense?
No, I'm just nodding.
Oh, okay.
What's the amount you're talking about, Kraig?
Less than 25,000.
And who would approve it? What people?
Chairman, I'm not saying me, chairman, vice chairman, and treasurer.
Almost every agency has policies like that. That's not a problem, I don't think.
I would think the same. Would you make it as a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that the policy is, the chairman is proposed for $25,000 or less for engineering cost to be approved by a small select committee. Be entered as policy now with the transportation committee.
And we'll add it to the transportation plan.
Right.
Second?
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries.
No.
So noted, 3 and 1.
Reason I say no is because, if I'm not correct, the Transportation Committee shall approve all expenditures, not a select group of the Transportation Committee.
You sent an email to me, Jenny,
Yeah.
and I'm going to take that as, at this point in time, as new business and let you address that if you would. I'm going to add that to the agenda.
Now or?
Now.
Okay. I received a request today from Stephanie Rossi, who is the planning director, planning and transportation director at Low Country Council of Government in Latz. And as I think she's mentioned, and I've probably mentioned, right now they're in the completion phase of the long-range transportation plan, both for the metropolitan area, which is Latz, and for Low Country Council of Governments, which is all all of Hampton and Colleton County, and about half of Jasper County, and a chunk of Beaufort County. Not all of Beaufort County is in the metropolitan area. The northern Beaufort County is still a rural area by various definitions. So anyhow, they're at the stage of, they have a survey that's been completed. The consultants have done this, and they do a really good job at that. They were the ones who did the original, and they're doing the update. And they'll be recommending projects and also policies. And even though this committee works pretty much at a micro level, and the plan is definitely at, more than even county level, it's regional, those policies can certainly impact what happens to our responsibility, to the roads that we're responsible for. So it really does involve us. And the more opinions that the consultants and the technical committee have to look at and determine what projects they're going to recommend, what new policies, et cetera, the better. So Stephanie sent a copy of the electronic survey, because nowadays most surveys are done electronically. But if somebody needs a copy, hard copy, I'm sure Elizabeth would graciously make one for them. But seriously, and I've also requested from Brittanee and Elizabeth to send out a copy of the survey. And so if you, as members, not just as members of the Transportation Committee, but as Beaufort County residents and taxpayers, would fill it out. It's not a long one, because we've learned over the years that
It's short.
the best way to not get anybody to fill out a survey is make it long. And if any of your, friends, neighbors, family, constituents in your district, et cetera, are interested, it would be good to have their participation too. And doing it electronically, all anybody has to do is just click submit at the end, and it's done. So.
Took me 5 minutes. I've already done it. Maybe 10 minutes at most.
10 minutes if you really think about each question, but 5 if you just kind of. But so everybody would really appreciate that. Would appreciate your help on that.
Thank you. Okay, item 7, Treasurer's Report.
So you guys are standard of receiving the financial report, and it's absent in your package today. One of the reasons being is because we are currently closing out our financials FY21. So we're going through a rollover period, finalizing any invoices, rolling over purchase orders. So along with that annual report that you'll be receiving that we submit to SCDOT, you'll also be receiving your financial report that closes out FY 2021.
And we just got the funding documents within the last week or so.
Yeah,
Closing out the
currently right now,
fiscal year,
the SEED
so-
program is about 2 months behind in getting us our monthly statements. So the last one that I've received is for July.
So, thank you. Are there any other public comments to our agenda? None. Chairman has no comments today. I move for adjournment. Thank you for your attendance.
Whole place to the ball.